It's funny, Herschel, I literally was having a conversation with somebody about this a week and a half ago. I don't remember how it came up, but we were talking about Barry Sanders and the name Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, Tony Dorsett are the four names that are always in every conversation with my football-loving friends and I about the greatest college football running backs of all time. You have stood the test of time, my friend. Do you think about that stuff from in this stage of your life?
Well, I don't think about it that much, but I'm honored to be among those great guys. They're wonderful people, they're wonderful guys, and there were so many great running backs. I think I was just privileged to be at a university that decided that we were going to run the ball no matter what. I tell everyone, it can be 3rd down and 15, and we're running a tall sweep, so that gave me an opportunity to go out and run the ball a great deal.
Well, Herschel, I'm pretty sure that wasn't just the offensive game plan, and whoever the tailback is, they were going to run it on 3rd and 15. I think they probably did that because they had Herschel Walker dotting the I in that I in that backfield. I don't know if they would have done that for anybody else. It was a treat watching you play, and I really appreciate you coming on. Herschel,
you're very welcome, and thank you guys for having me on. I tell you what, Mr. Elder, I've watched him many times, and I respect what he does and what he says, and it's an honor for me to be on this show.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I respect you coming on with me. I know he would love to have you back on himself when he gets back in the chair. He's, Herschel here, this is perfect because you know where Larry is tonight. He's in Dallas doing a premiere with our one of our Salem stations down there of his new movie called Uncle Tom, which is about, of course, the plight of the African-American conservative in the United States and how difficult it is to express support for conservative ideas and ideals and to express support for perhaps a Republican president like Donald Trump without being called an Uncle Tom and a whole host of other terrible things, from the black community. I'm going to ask you outright. You have been critical of some of the things that are going on right now with respect to rioting and people calling for the abolition of police departments. You are a former player for Donald Trump's team in the USFL, and I know you've been a longtime friend of his. Do you face the same kind of Uncle Tom type of insults that Larry is talking about in his movie?
I do. I face it a lot, but, truth hurts sometimes, and, I'm not going to sway my beliefs just because someone else may not believe what I believe, and I think that's what's great about America, and that's the reason I'm going to defend America and the beliefs of America as much as I can. Can I say that everything here in America is right? No, I can't, but what I can say is this is the best country in the world, and I'm going to defend what we have right now, and the only way we can make it better is to defend this and to go from here. I don't think we take 2 steps back to go forward because that's what we're doing right now.
I think that's very well said, and our policing, and that's what this is all about. I think right now, I'll tell you what. You know what, Herschel, if you could, this is a short segment. Unfortunately, we got to take a short time out here. I want to ask you about your tweet and about your message about law enforcement in America. But can you hold on to the other side of this time out for us so that we don't cut you short?
Sure, I can.
I appreciate that. Don't call me sir. My goodness gracious. Thank you. Herschel Walker is going to stay with us here. He tweet. I'm going to read his tweet. You can marinate on this a little bit during the break, then we'll ask him to explain it a little more. He said, I have an idea, did Herschel Walker 2 days ago. For all those people who don't want any police, I'd love to meet with American, Delta, and Southwest and make a deal to fly them to countries that don't have any police. I want them to be happy. Herschel Walker will explain that next.
You're listening to The Larry Elder Show.
We do indeed. And that's exactly what we are endeavoring to do every day on the Larry Elder Show. Larry is not here. He's in Dallas premiering the movie Uncle Tom. I come to you live from Cleveland, Ohio, by way of Southern California. My name is Bob Frantz. AM 1420, The Answer is the home base in Cleveland. We are joined now by, once again, one of the greats in college football history and one of the great athletes, period, by the way. I wish I could talk to Herschel Walker about his MMA career and everything else he's done in his amazing life. But for now, we're talking about law enforcement in America, and Herschel Walker has been kind enough to stay with us. So, Herschel, I read your tweet before the break. And just to remind people, you essentially are telling people that if you want to live in a society without police, and this is aimed at the anarchists, the Antifa, the Black Lives Matter, and all of those, particularly leftist politically, all saying they want to abolish or defund the police. You want to arrange the flights. You'll talk to all of the major airlines, and we'll get you opportunities to fly to countries where their rule of law doesn't exist and where law enforcement doesn't exist. That's a pretty strong statement. What were you really trying to say?
Well, what I was saying is the United States of America was born on laws, and I think that's the only way we can advance is to continue to have law and order. And I think anyone that don't believe in that, why don't we send them to these countries that you can do whatever you want to do? That they may have police officers, but the police officers are ran by the government. They're not ran by laws. They're ran by these crooked societies. Right now, I love America. I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world, but we got ways to go, but we can get there. But we can't get there by breaking the law. We can't get there by going against the law. All police officers are not bad. All African Americans are not bad. Not all Caucasian are not bad. Not all Hispanics are bad. And I'm tired of people not wanting to know the truth. The truth is that we have a problem. There was a terrible, terrible situation in Minnesota. Everyone know that. But right now, rioting, all of the protesting that's been going on that's been unlawful is not correct, is not right. What is happening in Seattle is not right. And I think for any leader to continue to say it's right shouldn't be a leader, because what he's doing now, he's caving into the pressure. You can't cave into the pressure. You got to continue to do what is right, and that's the only thing you can do.
The situation we referenced, of course, George Floyd's death in Minnesota was indefensible. And here's the thing, Herschel, I don't know anyone, black or white or any other shade in between, that has ever defended the officer in that case. We are all united in our condemnation of the death of George Floyd. Why do you suppose, rather than everybody unifying black hand in white hand over that terrible thing, as we all condemn and call for justice to be done there, why did it instead splinter into black and white, division and quite frankly, hatred that we are seeing right now?
Well, I think it had a lot to do with political than it does just that, because let's be honest here, and I point fingers at a lot of our leaders in Washington. Let's be honest here. This situation didn't just evolve just over the George Floyd situation. This Black Lives Matter has been going on for a while. You remember Kaepernick, this happened a long time, a year and a half ago with him, and Congress was going to do so much. They were going to do so much where nothing ever happens. This thing been going on for a long time before the president got in office. Well, right now, they don't like this president, so anything that they can bring up that they can blame the president for, they're going to bring it up. But I'm here to tell you, everyone in America, the honest truth. What we have to do is we have to make people accountable, make businesses accountable for what they say. I'm tired of them thinking they can give out money and everything is okay. Giving out money doesn't solve a problem. You don't give a guy a fish, you teach him to fish. And I think that's what we got to do. We got to quit thinking that someone can break the law and because he's African American, let's do this here. No, what happened to George Floyd was wrong. So I think we need to have swift justice, but the justice has to be fair. What happened in Atlanta was wrong. We have swift justice, but the justice have to be fair. And I think that's how we lead on from there. We don't just go out and just throw everything away, forget about where we've come from, and start from the bottom to build up. Because think about this. All those people that are rioting in Seattle now, when everything is said and done, I guarantee they're going to pick themselves up and go home, meaning they're going to leave that neighborhood and go back to where they live, but they're going to leave that neighborhood in turmoil. So think about that, and I think that's what the people need to think about. Who lives in that neighborhood that's causing all those problems?
That's a great point.
The people that live there, or is it someone from outside?
Herschel Walker, last question for you because we're short on time. You brought up politics in all of this, and you said they don't like this president, so they're going to do everything they can to make things hard, including what's going on now. You tweeted last week about another subject. You said someone informed Joe Biden not to compare the death of Dr. King and George Floyd. He's been in office a very long time, and not once has he tried to change anything for black lives. Look at his voting records. It sounds like you're not a Joe Biden fan. So how do you feel when Joe Biden says if you're not a Joe Biden fan, you're not black?
Well, I think it's insulting, and I'm not going to say I'm not his fan. I respect him. He's a guy that he believes what he believes, and that's what's great about America. He has the right to believe that. But let's be honest. Former Vice President Joe Biden has been a senator for years. He has been a vice president for 8 years. What has he done for African America? And you think about a lot of other people that's in office. I'm not going to call their name. They've been there for years. But what have they done to change what is happening right now? And that's the reason I said, guys, I like to be a leader. You know what? If I was Donald Trump, I would call out people, too, that don't want to help me to change things, because when you get to Washington, this same old thing goes on. What are they going to do now? They're going to have a couple of hearings. We're going to have a couple of hearings, and you have these big companies that will give a couple of monies to these certain groups, and we go on from there. But do we solve anything? No, we don't. Well, I think this is time we start solving things, holding people accountable, and putting things in place that can change things. That's the only way it's going to change.
As you mentioned wanting to be a leader, and you are, but have you ever thought about taking the next step and running for office?
Well, that's one of the things I told people I would never do is run for office, because I don't want to get to Washington and do what some of the same people are doing. They get there and they cave into the pressure. I want to be on the outside saying, I'm going to keep pushing for you to change. That if you're not going to do what your job you come there to do, you need to get out. I told someone this, AOC from New York, I may disagree with what she stands for, but she has the right to be there. And she's making a change for what she wants. That's
exactly right. Herschel Walker, listen, my friend, I've got to go because we're out of time, but I appreciate you very much. Thank you for the time, Herschel Walker. We'll be right back.